In this video, we're going to go over how you can send data from your database model into your view and how you can template your view using Jinja templating. Hey everyone, this is Brad from DevOps Journey, and we are on lab number 3 of our Django tutorial. In this video, we are going to be going over the HTML templates that use the Jinja formatting templating style. Templating is one of the main features of Django, so it's a very important concept to understand. And fortunately, it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So please stick with me. We're going to learn a lot in this video. And if you're hearing any noises of cars outside or trucks or sirens, I apologize in advance. It's a very hot day. I have all my windows open, and there's going to be a little bit of street noise in this tutorial. And just a reminder that all my code is available in the description below. All you need to do is clone the GitHub directory. Alright, so I have our page loaded up, and as you can see, there's not much to it right now. It just says hello world, but don't worry, we're going to change that rather quickly here. The first thing we're going to get into is how we can use templates, and the most important concept for us to understand is how we can get data out of our database into our view and have a template render it. Once we have that concept down, it'll be very easy for us to get any data that we want on our page. Then we can start looking at how to make everything pretty and functional. So let's get started. Let's hop into our view first. Okay, so we are in our view right now, and basically the job of this view is to take in an HTTP request and then send it over to an HTML view. That HTML view will then render the input into a nice web page for us. So right now, all we're sending is the request, which is the HTTP information, and then we're sending it to this template, and this template doesn't actually have anything in it. It just says hello world. And if you remember, that template is located in our templates folder under website and then welcome.html. And yes, it just says hello world in it, so not much to it. Let's go ahead and change that now. So the first thing I want to do with our site is send a bit of data from the view over to the template. And the first thing we're going to send is a date object, and our website's going to tell us what the date is today. It's pretty simple, but it gives us a good idea of how the view and the template interact. So I'm going to add a comma here. And I'm actually going to start a new line, and this is going to be a dictionary. And I got a bunch of crap coming up here, so let me fix that. Okay, so this dictionary is going to contain my variables and values. So I'm going to make a variable named current_time, and I'm going to set it to datetime.now. And basically this is a Python function to get the time and date of right now. And you can see that it doesn't like date time, and that's because we haven't imported this module. So let's do that up here. So we'll go from datetime import datetime. So this is simple Python. This is how you would use the datetime module for any Python script. It's no different with Django. So if you understand this concept, you should be able to understand how you can get any data from any Python module into your view. So this is all we currently need in our view to send the date time to the template and have it render it. So let's move on over to our template. So we're in our template now. Let's make some changes. So instead of saying hello world, let's say hello. The current time is, and then we're going to specify that value we had. So we're going to say current time, and we're going to specify that value in double curly brackets. These double curly brackets are Jinja templating. And if you want to learn about Jinja, you can just Google it, go to their site. All the formatting is there. It's pretty simple and intuitive. We're going to go through all the basics, the for loops, the block codes, everything that you'll need to get a good website running. So just follow along with the video. But if you want to pause and have a look at the documentation, just head on over to the Jinja documentation website. So back into our code here, we have hello, the current time is, and then we specify the variable for current time. Perfect, this should work. Let's make sure our Django server is running. So I'm going to go into our blog directory and go python manage and go run server. And let me go back to our page. And when I refresh, I can see that the current time is May 11th, 2020. And I'll zoom in a little bit just so everyone can see. But basically the concept should be understood that we imported a Python module, we got data from that module, which is the date and time, and our view processed it and sent it over to the template, and the template displayed it in HTML format. So that's good. If you understand this concept, then we're in good shape here. Now let's go back into our view and start pulling data from our model, which is our database data, and start displaying it in our template. Alright, so we're back in our view now. And right now we're just sending the time, but let's make it so our application sends over the posts that are in our database and displays them. So I'm going to go into this dictionary that we created. I'll do a comma and start a new line just to keep everything organized. And I'm going to name this next variable posts. And then I'm going to feed in the value of post.objects.all. And this syntax right here is how your model gets all the objects within your database. So we're going to be going over this syntax quite a bit with a lot of different types of queries. And I think by the time you're done this course, you're going to have a good understanding of how you can get any type of data that you want out of your database. So one thing that you might notice here is we're getting this underlined, and that's because Django doesn't understand what this post object is. And the reason for that is because we have not imported the model into this view. So to import this model, we're going to go from posts.models import post. And basically this post is referencing this folder, models is referencing this py file, and post is referencing this post class from within the models file. And the reason this is being highlighted as it can't find it is just because of the way I opened it in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to actually correct that right now. Alright, so I have fixed the highlighting problem with the post.models, and I did that by creating this settings.json file under the .vscode directory. If you don't have a .vscode directory, go ahead and create that directory and put a settings.json file in there. And just make your settings.json file similar to how mine's set up here. These are two different options for resolving the particular problem that we had. My suggested way is to try the Jedi enabled first, and if that doesn't work, try setting your Python path. What Python Jedi does is exactly sort of what it sounds like. It's a Jedi that looks at your code and tries to understand it a bit better. It uses machine learning algorithms and everything fancy like that, but the basics of it is it understands your code better and you're less likely to see weird errors that should not be there. The second option is by setting your Python path. Now I'm using a virtual environment on Windows, so this is the way you do it on Windows for a virtual environment. If you're using Linux or Mac OS, your path will be different. And if you're not using a virtual environment, then you'll probably have to point to the actual Python executable on your system. But if you're having any problems with it, just put a comment below, and I'm sure someone in the community will be able to help you. But with that being said, let's get back into our code and continue working on our Django project. So, getting back to the task at hand, we have a variable named posts in our dictionary now, and the value of that is posts.objects.all. So this is going to be all the posts. Let's go ahead and create another variable here. And I'll do that on a new line, and I'm going to say num posts. And I'll do a colon, and I'm going to go posts dot objects. So it's very similar to the one we did above, but instead of saying all, I'm going to say count. And basically it's going to count all the post objects and return me an integer, and this integer will be equal to the number of posts that are in the database. So let's head on over to our template now. Let's add a new line and just say there are currently num posts, and say posts. So when this goes through, it's going to say there are currently 2 posts, and those 2 posts are the ones that we created in the last video. Let's save this, and let's get a new terminal, because my other one closed out. And I'll go into blog, and I'm going to start my server again. So Python manage run server, and then when I refresh here, we can see there are currently 2 posts. So that's good. That's exactly what we expected. Now let's clean this up a bit because we want things on separate lines. So I'm just going to do a horizontal rule there and do another HR here. And then I want to display my posts. But since I have more than one post, I'm going to have to use a loop to iterate through all of them. So I'm going to start with some curly brackets. And instead of doing double curly brackets, I'm going to do a curly bracket and %sign. And I'm going to go for post in posts. And I'll say do something. And then I want to end this block off. So I'm going to go end for. So if you're familiar with for loops, that's how it's done in Jinja. It's very simple syntax. Now let's actually put some logic within our loop. And I'm going to say h2, and this is just basic HTML for a heading. And then I'm going to go back to my double curly brackets templating format, and I'm going to go post dot title. So this will display the post title. And if I go p/p, let's copy this one, put it here, but let's change this to body. Let's space that out. So this looks good to me. Let's open our website again and refresh, and we can see that our posts are there. So we got my first post, my second post, and if I open a new window, we'll just duplicate here, and then let's go back into the admin site. And let's go under posts. Let's add a new post and say third post. And say this is my third post. Save it and go back here. If we refresh, we can see our post showed up, which is perfect. So right now we're just using the admin tool to create this data and create these posts, but we will be creating forms in the future where users can submit their own posts, delete posts, modify posts, everything like that. But right now we're just getting the framework down and understanding how the templates, views, and models work. So the next thing I'm going to show here is how to create a base template and have your other templates pull from that template. So you could have your main toolbar up top, you could have all your default HTML formatting in this one file, and all your other templates pull from that file. It's a very powerful feature, and it's very simple to implement once you understand it. So let's get started with it. So I'm going to go over to my template folder here, and I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to name this file base.html, And I'm keeping this at the root of my template folder since all my templates will utilize it. Now I'm going to copy and paste a little bit of HTML code into here. Alright, so here's a simple boilerplate that I like to use for smaller projects. And basically it's all the base HTML tags. As you can see, within the title and within the body we have some Jinja templating. That's because this is going to be dynamic content. The title for each page is going to be different, and the contents of the body will always be different. And that's why we need to use these block templates within here. So that's what our base HTML should look like. Let's go make changes to our welcome HTML to import the base HTML. So I'm in the welcome.html now, and I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to say extends base.html, and my auto completion added a bunch of stuff that I didn't want it to, so let me fix that. So I have this extends base.html now, and that's basically importing this base HTML document that I have defined. But within this document we have these block contents, so I need to individually pull these in. And I'll just do that by copying and pasting. But within them, that's where I put in my content. But for my welcome page, I want it to be welcome to my blog. And then I have my block content here. So let me actually take the indentation out. And I basically want to put what my content was before and put it within here. And then let's do a little bit of indentation just to make it a little bit cleaner. And basically it's saying this section will go into the body, and then this section will go into the title in the base HTML. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and save this and go back into our Django site and see if the changes have been made. Alright, so I got a new browser open, and now you can see our site has a title at the top which says welcome to my blog, and if I go view page source, we can see that we have all the tags that are in there. So that's good. We can tell that our base HTML is being imported into the document. So you can take this a lot further than what we did currently. You could go into your base HTML, start importing all your style sheets, all your JavaScript. You could put in a main menu that's always at the top. So it's really just a powerful feature of Django that you should be using. In our next video, we're going to get more into how we can use these templates, and we're going to start importing CSS to make our site look a lot better than it does currently. So please join me for that. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. And I hope to see everyone in the next video.